Hey guys, welcome back today. Our tip and hint that we're going to cover today is how can you gauge the amount of activity that you're doing? And you're probably asking, okay, why is he wearing a sleeveless shirt? And it's to kind of show you about activity, engaging activity. And whenever we look at weight loss, whenever we look at the simplest of things, whether someone's trying to maintain their weight, gain weight, lose weight, it always comes back to a balance between calories consumed versus calories expended. So we always bring ourselves back to that place. How many calories have you burned and how many have you expended? Well, it's very, very easy to figure out. Well, before we do that, I want to use one of our favorite clients, his tagline that he came up with that he then gave us the permission to use. It's so simple, but it's all about what we are all about. It's to move more, eat less, and enjoy life. So the end result is you enjoy life, we can eat less, and we can track that very easy using our .fit logging system, figure out how many calories we're consuming, grams of protein, carbohydrates, fat, all that stuff. But then we get into how do we know how many calories we are expending? And we have found a great resource in which we do that. When you log into the .fit system, there's a button on top that says My Activity Tracker. And so what we do is this device that I'm wearing on my arm, the ExerSpy, that is a device that helps to monitor through a number of different variables the amount of activity you expend. So it's really, sometimes one area of focus is to look at how many calories you intake, but it's also very important, as I mentioned, to look at how many calories you expend. Because I've had a lot of people, a couple clients this week that I've talked to that have said in the past that they were having a hard time lowering their weight, they were having a hard time getting results. So instead of decreasing their calories, all we did was to increase their activity out. We kept their calories the same because I was able to go in, look at their nutrition, look at what they were logging. They were eating the appropriate amount of calories. They were taking in the right amount of food. So all I had to do then was then talk to them about expending more calories. Well, on food logging, it's very easy to gauge how you're doing, but how do you do that with exercise? I mean, you can look at how much time you spend in the gym, how much cardio that you do, how much calories you output based on the machine. But one of the best tools that I have found, if you're willing to do it, number one, the ExerSpy, because this not only will monitor the amount of calories that you have burned, it will monitor things like sleep, number of steps taken, and where your activity levels are throughout the day and where it's peaking and so forth. And another thing that you can also do is to get like a petameter, just where it's counting just your steps, and the ExerSpy counts your steps too. So you can monitor it based on that. But obviously, I'm going to recommend the ExerSpy to you. You can also look at another thing like a petameter. But what that does, if your nutrition, if you're just saying, well, I'm going to eat good. Time and time again, I've seen people, if they say, well, I'm just going to eat good. Well, if they're not knowing how many calories they're consuming, then their actual calorie consumption is all over the board based on testing. But if they're monitoring what they're doing, then they're going to be more aware, more conscious, and more self-accountable, and therefore their calories are going to be much, much more consistent. Well, the same thing is true for your activity. If you're just saying, well, I'm going to exercise, or I'm going to move, or I'm going to go for a walk here or there, it then goes back into what I've talked about before about based on emotions, and you walk based on how you feel. I'm going to walk a certain amount this time, or this, or this, or this. Where if you're gauging and tracking it, and you say, I have a goal to walk this amount, or I have a goal to expend this many calories, or I have a goal to expend this amount of moderate to intense activity, you can, when you're monitoring that, then you are more, what we said, more aware, more self-accountable, and more likely to maintain a higher level activity. And then, whether it's you monitoring calories in versus calories out, or whether it's us coaching you with calories in versus calories out, we're much more able to be predictable with your results and more easily tweak things so we can get you over any plateaus that you find. So, log in your food, that's great. That's my tip. Log in your food, do that. Even when you're maintaining, you need to know how many calories you're consuming. But The big tip today is also track the amount of activity that you're doing, preferably through something like an exercise, or you can do it, with a petameter or something else. But that will help you to have that balance between the two, to more accurately gauge how many calories you're consuming versus how many calories you're expending. It gives you more self-accountability, it gives you more awareness, and it gives you more tools at your disposal so that you are able to accurately keep your progress going, stay away from plateaus, and do in fitness what I call live in truth instead of live in emotions. So definitely go do that, get your activity tracked. If you're using the .fit system, it's easy. You just log your activity, you get an exercise, which are not that expensive, but definitely worth it. And we have many clients that will tell you that it's worth it. And that will help you to accurately gauge your progress, because so many people, if they just move more, if they're already eating good and they just move more, their results go way, way through the roof. And they can usually hit their goals much easier. I hope that helps you for your tip today, and I thank you for joining us.
When you feel that something's wrong, I'll shelter you and keep you warm. I'll never let you walk alone.